War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time being with your Auburn family and your E2C Network family. If you've been a part of us before, long time, however long you've been here, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. It is Wednesday night. It is our Auburn family night for September 28th. 2022. As has been the case since the dawn of time for the E2C Network, at 8 p.m., we get on here and hang out and just shoot the breeze. Talk to you, the Auburn family, about what you want to discuss, the hot topics that are out there, whether that be Auburn football, the beginning of Auburn basketball. I am wearing an Auburn basketball shirt tonight. However you want to discuss the thing tonight, it is about you. It is about your comments, your questions, and your calls tonight. You dictate the show this evening. As we get started, as is always the case, we want to remind you of a few things to make sure that you smash the like button. It does help the stream out, helps us, especially for those that are live right now, find us a little bit easier. You can also right now use this as our check-in period to post where you're watching from. You can do this whether you are on Facebook or Twitter, whether you are on YouTube, whether you're watching live on the replay. Post right now in the comments where you're watching from, because we want to know who's checking in and from where in our Auburn family. Maybe we'll get a few rogue LSU fans pop in this week too, because it is LSU football week. More on that coming up a little bit later in the show about what our schedule will be for a preview and all that kind of stuff. With that being said, as you guys get those things rolling, let's go ahead and pop in and say hello to a few people that are checking in. A lot of our regulars are here. Looks like we might get Devin to call in and talk to us a little bit after going to Auburn finally and seeing the loveliest village on the plains in all of its glory. War Eagle from the Chicken Shack. Well, I don't know. I think only I understand what that means, Tyler. But yeah, I think that makes it a little bit more clear. Thank you guys for tuning in. I guess, aren't y'all supposed to be working? Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right. As is the case, like I said, this is our call-in show night. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. I will tell you my voice is like a little bit under the weather. So this would be one of those nights that if you've been considering calling in, maybe a little bit shy to do so, please do so. It would help my voice out a lot because it is allergy season. You can probably hear it a little bit. But regardless of that, if you want to call in tonight, the link is available up top. We'll get you in line and we'll get you in order that you come in. So just be patient if you have to sit in the waiting room for a little bit. But we'd love to hear from you on this stream tonight. As always, this stream, the Wednesday night stream, is brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. We'll talk a little bit about them later on in the stream. Just want to mention them right up at the front. War Eagle from basketball country, Kimberly Ward Rivera. Thanks for checking in. North Carolina. Have you not gotten the news that basketball country lives in Auburn now? We are blue bloods now, so I was told. At least from the way we typically are performing these days in basketball, we should be worthy of blue blood status. So we can talk about that, or we can talk about some of the things that are fresh on people's minds. You guys pick how we kind of go about this. I will address this at the very, very top, though. Bill had asked that when he said War Eagle. Can we beat LSU? The correct answer to that is yes. Will we? Is the tougher question. I don't know, Bill. I'm kind of going back and forth on it right now. I will give my final prediction. I say final because I made a final prediction at the beginning of the season. I predicted us to beat them in this particular game back then. Now knowing what I know, it looks a little sketchy at this point. So yes, it could be interesting, but it's going to be a fun day. Hopefully this weather continues to, by the way, thoughts and prayers. I know that's the cliche, but I mean that when I say that to all our friends in Florida, especially Central and South Florida, lower Georgia, the Carolinas that are going to be hitting hard by some of this hurricane stuff that's going on right now. It's always tough to deal with that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's not fun, but I think most of them are accustomed to this type of thing. Let's see here. Are we going to see you at Jordan Hare? You will. I'm always on campus, but I already have my ticket situated for this particular week. So I will be 6 o'clock, I will be in the stadium ready to see us win the Tiger Bowl. And I'm going to believe and I'm going to hope that we can win. Is it going to happen? That is the biggest question. But, I'm just going to be happy to be there and be part of what's going to be probably a very fun night. It can't get much worse than the Penn State game, can it? Probably it can, but anyway. Ron, very, very bold of you, sir. You were saying, I read that initially, that you were saying we're going to win 12 to 10 games. I was like, well, he has us going to a bowl game right now. If he's saying 12, you meant 12 to 10, the score. Save your predictions for that and come back tomorrow night. We will be doing a post-game, or not a post-game. We'll be doing a post-game show, obviously, as we typically do, a very late one. But we will also be doing a preview show. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a preview of the preview tomorrow, 8 p.m., as is typically the case for our regularly scheduled live streams on Thursday. We do have an LSU fan, and y'all are going to have to be a little bit nice. You'll understand why when he gets on here tomorrow. But I do have an LSU fan joining us for that preview, so we'll get their perspective of this game too. So there's that. Let me bring that back up over here. Some people were asking about counsel at center. Yeah, if you look at the depth chart, it says something different, but we'll see what happens. Never going to pick against Auburn. I admire that about you, Ron, and there is probably a time in my life where I would also echo the same sentiment. I don't know that I can ever, without very, very good reasons, not pick Auburn, even by the slightest of margins. But we have entered a time where I have to question whether I can pick Auburn in games. And I'll be honest with you guys. I'm struggling when I give my final score tomorrow to give Auburn the win. And they're capable of it. But boy, they got to fix a few things. Just, yeah. They do have monsters up front, Dusty. But that's, you're not saying this, but a lot of people, when they say that, are acting like this is some brand new revelation that LSU's big up front on the front seven, their defensive line, their linebackers. LSU has always had big old athletes, just, everywhere, not just on the front seven. This isn't anything new. This isn't like they didn't have athletes last year and somehow got them this year. They've had them the entire time. It's just a matter of, are they starting to put together? And, they're on a good 3-game winning streak. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Maybe get some more deeper impressions from their LSU fan that'll be joining us. Thomas says that the Saturday against Mizzou was almost hard to watch as the 3-2 Mississippi State. It was almost as hard. Nothing will ever top that. That was horrendous, awful, horrible. I don't know. Great question, Big Simp. If you guys haven't heard, they did have their initial practice and press conference for men's basketball, as well as women's basketball too. I know not everybody wants to pay attention to that, but it's going on too. And Coach did not elaborate, Coach Pearl, but he did say that Alan Flanagan is out indefinitely. It's never a fun word. It can mean a lot of things. It can mean 1 week. It can mean several weeks, but it was family, personal matters. So it's always dangerous to speculate on these things. I haven't read or seen anybody say that Coach Wes Flanagan, the assistant coach, his father, is out as well. So I guess if that's not the case, if nobody else has heard anything about that, I'm guessing it's more of a personal reason, which, starts asking a lot of questions, a lot of speculation. I don't really want us to go down that rabbit hole, but those are, the stories right now. Personal family matters are going on right now, or personal issues. So we hope he gets them righted, because Alan Flanagan has had a roller coaster of a ride with a lot of highs, but also a few lows as well. And I was hoping that we could get this thing started right this year for him to kind of go off into the sunset with a swan song and have a really, really good year for him. Still can happen. Not how you want to have your practice season start, though, for him. Dusty, yeah. So I put out some clips in we just released our vlog video from the Auburn, Missouri homecoming weekend. So go check that out if you haven't. It's just got, little short clips of everything that we saw and did. You'll see Devin in some of them. She was hanging out with me a lot, her and her husband. So they kind of peek in and out of a few of those things. But we did stop in and watch a few minutes of baseball practice and the scrimmage. Got a home run happening live as well. forget the new kid's name that hit it. It's practice, so you didn't get to see a whole lot other than just drills and things like that. The most exciting thing that I was there for is that home run. It was just nice to be back out on the baseball diamond after that exciting season that we had, just to sit back and relax and enjoy the ball being tossed around a little bit with no consequences, right? Yeah. Tank Bigsby with 150 yards and 2 touchdowns Saturday. Tank, if Tyler, if you're serious and he does that, if that's your prediction, we win. If Tank Bigsby goes for 150 yards, I don't think we lose. That really is the key, is can our defense hold up like they did against Missouri, and can we get the run game going? Because we know kind of what to expect from the passing game. It's not that it's not existent, it's just not reliable right now. And that has not so much to do with the wide receivers at this point, and really not as much as you would think to do with the quarterbacks, but the same thing I'm going to go back to, the pass blocking. So if that happens, that is a very good sign for Auburn to win this game. Tank Bigsby is the key to Auburn winning this year. Big Simp, these are I knew these were going to start coming in. If we lose to LSU, does Carson last till Monday? I don't see us winning. If you want to play the speculation game on that, it would make logically, in my mind, of course, sometimes these things aren't decided on logic. If you're going to make a change, no matter what, or if you're going to make it after a loss to LSU and or Georgia, then you wait till after the Georgia game in the bye week to give the team time to acclimate, to get structured around. So, it's not that I want to make you all feel bad for playing into that, but at the same time, there's really no point in it. There's nothing productive about these type of conversations. I mean, we can talk about it. I'm not saying that, but until we actually have something happen, my hope is that most of you, like me and many others, will hope that this thing gets figured out and right. And we have a very impressive showing. And by some stretch of the imagination, have an upset against Georgia. Because then what do? Everybody's been bad-mouthing Carson, and if he's gotten it figured out, boy, y'all look pretty silly for those who've been bad-mouthing him. Not saying you weren't wrong at the time, but that's my hope. Let's get it figured out. Ron, well, if you are a fan of baseball, we will have plenty of that come springtime. We gave that a go this year to see how much of our audience would love that, and we got some pretty good response. So we will not do post-game shows for every baseball game outside of the postseason, but we will probably do we'll figure it out. There will be some baseball content here, as you've already seen. We've posted, we're giving you guys, press conferences from the head coaches really is the only thing that we're doing right now for obviously football. Basketball we did this week with Bruce, and of course Butch as well. Last week. So if you're a baseball fan, there's content here for you, specifically Auburn baseball. I think we'll be surprised in a good way at Saturday. I'm optimistic. There is a surging feeling that I am just kind of grasping out there, Linda. You're not the only one, that there's a lot of people that are very hopeful for that. And I am as well. I'm always hopeful, but I also try to live in the reality of what I've seen from this team thus far, and it doesn't give a lot of reasons to be optimistic. And again, back to the offensive line, that's the main really thing there. So I'm hopeful. I believe they're capable of it. We'll see how I feel tomorrow night. Could be an interesting show. Maybe our LSU fan will give us a little bit of insights that'll make us all feel really good or really bad. You think he makes it to the end of the regular season? Maybe so. It's going to be hard to. But he's very capable of doing that. Maybe so. I believe in Kyle. Stop it, Tyler. Let's see. More quick passes this week, hopefully. Dusty, I agree with you in some sense, but, and I'm not saying specifically about your one specific statement. Everybody's got these opinions about these one or two things that'll fix everything. If it was that simple, they'd be doing it. There's bigger, wider ranging problems than just giving quick passes. But I know that's what you're hoping to see because you think it's going to start alleviating some of those issues. And I tend to agree. But there are bigger pressing issues than just doing more quick passes, in my opinion. Ants Den, I can't wait to be out there Saturday. I as well. Again, reminder to everybody, we have kind of an unofficial meetup at Tiger Walk every single home game. I am there at the very beginning, or not the beginning, I shouldn't say that. Wherever you see the Tiger Walk banner, I'm usually posted up to the right of it. If it's in the morning with the sun, usually I'm over to the left. If you're looking at the banner with the stadium to your back, usually I'm on the right, about like 5 to 10 feet back from it to get a good angle on it for Tiger Walk live stream, which we do every single home game for you all. So I hope that you will come by, say hello. I met obviously Devin last week, but I met some other viewers and podcast listeners last week. It's always great to hear that. Oh wow! All right, team. I'll super chat you 20 if we win the next broadcast. I love it, Big Simp. I love it, but I think your $20 is safe. But I think you'll be $20. I wouldn't say richer, but not poor, I guess, is the way it's supposed to go. Thank you for the kind words. You can watch it any way you want on the big screen, the computer screen, the TV screen. You can even call in. Kyle, I don't think anything can fix this because I know what the offensive line is, but we got to start doing things to offset that best we can. And I agree. I do agree with that. I think, quick passes would probably be part of that equation. But gosh, you still got to give them time to get off those quick passes. And if as much as I think people obsess too much over, and these are the type of statements that get me in trouble with certain people, over film. This week, we've seen a lot of good slowdowns of film to show you how quickly some defenders are getting through the offensive line. And it's scary. It is scary how quickly it's happening. It really is. It's disturbing. Yeah. Such optimism tonight. Listen, you know me, Corey. I have been Mr. Sunshine Pumper. I think that's one of the greatest badges of honors you can be bestowed upon you is to be called a Sunshine Pumper. So you're hating on me for being a positive person. The irony behind people calling you, like every time I see that directed in my way, I'm just like, wow, thanks. I think you don't realize what you're saying about yourself. So if that's the case, call me a Sunshine Pupper, but I am not one tonight. Obviously, I'm trying to be realistic about what we know right now about this team. And we know a lot, even through 4 games. And a lot of it's not good. But there are some great signs. I think there were some things that were missed in the chaos of last week. The utilization of a lot of new faces or less utilized faces, wide receiver wise, the way that especially the front 7, the defensive line particularly showed up last week was very, very encouraging. So I think that's some things that don't need to be missed in a frustrating win like that. If receivers can't get separation, quick passes won't even matter. We have deep issues. Well, yes. But again, we are so far from giving the wide receivers a lot of frustrations directed at them because of all the other stuff that's going on. Last year, there was a lot of that going on. All right, we got our first caller, and we'll get him in here in just a second. Let's catch up on just a few of these before we do that. Any chance TJ is ready to play Saturday? From what if you buy into the speculation, the reports, there's a no. Probably not. Just I don't have any other, other insight into that. All right, let's get our first caller in here. It's one of our regulars, and if you want to talk about optimism, he's the king of it. Mr. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
War Eagle.
Kevin, make us feel good tonight, buddy. I need to feel something.
Robbie will run a 50-yard touchdown against LSU the first play of the game.
The first play of the game. You heard it here, folks. Kevin has called his shot, or Robbie's shot, to be more specific. If any player on our team could pull off something like that and catch LSU off guard, I think Robbie's probably your best case. especially if he
He's
does a
fast.
little. He's fast. I mean, he's one of the faster ones on our team. Hopefully, he can get a little bit of extra blocking along with that to help him spring out there a little bit. I think, Robbie, he's one of those guys, if he gets into the secondary level, just beyond the linebackers, then it's going to be hard for them to bring him down unless they are just really, really good tacklers, which LSU should have, right? They're a good team. What do you think about LSU?
Yeah.
What do you think about LSU, though?
I think LSU, they got one player,
Butte?
the wide receiver,
Keyshawn Butte.
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 When they stick him, Derek Hall needs to stick him real good.
Well, so just to give you a little perspective, so Derek Hall, if he's guarding him, we're in trouble because he doesn't need to. He's a defensive end. They're not going to be guarding those wide receivers all that much. So you're probably looking at someone like, I would guess that you're going to see Nehemiah Pritchett sticking with him the majority of the night because they're going to want to put your best on your best. DJ James, the young guy, has done a really good job lately. I don't know that they would trust him against Butte right now just because he's young, but who knows? Whoever can stop him, stop him. At this point, what else is on your mind tonight? Might have a little bit of a delay. Looks like it, Kevin. Can you hear me, buddy? Kevin?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Give me okay if you can hear me. Oh, there it goes, unfortunately. All right, Kevin, you can try to call back in. We'll finish up our call, buddy, if you want, but it looks like you're having some connectivity issues. You guys can call in too if you like. Just click that link at the top. Up. There. Maybe we might have him back. Let's try that. There he is, Kevin. How's that?
Hey,
can you hear me?
Why Robert Woodard ain't playing?
Well, he's a young guy. He's a freshman, and you got to earn a lot of your playing time. I don't think, there's been a lot of opportunities for linebackers to find extra time to play when you've got Owen Papo, when you've got Wesley Steiner, when you've got Cam Riley, guys that have been here for a while, earned their keep, and are definitely in a position to get more playing time right now. Robert, from all intents and purposes, had a great fall. I don't know if he's been playing on special teams or not, but to me, I wonder if that's a situation where you save Robert and kind of redshirt him and get him ready to be the next wave of linebackers at Auburn.
How about the wide receivers?
What about them specifically would you like to know?
Javaris Johnson, Malcolm Johnson Jr., and Cedric Jackson and Cole Moore.
So the first three, we saw Shed get a catch in the game. Javaris had a target, but he didn't catch. And then Malcolm, I don't even remember him getting targeted at all. So last week was about the new guys. I mean, frankly, I was kind of happy to see a lot of the new guys get more of the center stage than some of the old guys. That's kind of what we've been wanting. I'm glad that Shed was still. What's that?
Robbie Osborne did good.
He did. He did okay. He did okay. There were some definite plus sides to having him out there. We definitely are more effective than right now with him than Holden Gerner, but Holden's young, so we'll see what happens with him. He was thrown in there at a really rough time. You can't really put a lot of fault on him. Yeah, one more question.
Our volleyball team is 13.
That's a great way. We'll round our conversation out with that. They are playing right now against Mississippi State, I think, undefeated. If you are not paying attention to Auburn volleyball, that's a great thing to call out, Kevin, because people need to pay attention. They've been in the cellar for a long time, and they're actually look pretty decent right now. So pay attention to them. Kevin, buddy, thank you so much for calling in tonight. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right. Thanks, Kevin, for calling in. You all can call in too. Just click the link up in the top of the chat. Say hello. Would love to hear from some of your smiling faces tonight. Devin, Butte was a non-factor last year. Well, that's why it was last year. I'm willing to bet he'll be a factor this year. Now, he did just have a baby, so maybe he's a little distracted. But, yeah. Anyone know what color uniform, what our uniforms will be? Is the home team always colors and away? Yes, your home team is typically always your colors, and your away is your white. Now, if you're LSU, you wear your whites regardless, unless you're trying to disrespect some rinky-dink team for your purple game that you wear every year. That's the decorum, the understood rules. Wear your colors at home, white, but some people do it differently. Go figure. I don't know. It's a weird LSU thing, but we will be wearing our colors unless we just want to throw them for a loop and make them wear their purple jerseys. But I am betting that we would already know about that, because as Clint's told us before, the decisions are made in advance, because you don't travel with your purple jerseys if you're LSU, unless you need them. Probably would have been out there already. Let's see. Anyone that would keep up with Butte at this time? Yeah. You're asking if anybody would. Well, we don't have a Roger McCreary. I would definitely say that, but we haven't seen the defensive backs exposed as much as they were outside of Roger last year. Now, a lot of these guys were here, but there hasn't been a lot of opportunities to have them exposed either. And this could be one of those games. So in my mind, you definitely put Nehemiah. He seems to be your most consistent one on him. Jalen Simpson is a great athlete. He's been burned a couple times in games, So right now, to me, Nehemiah seems to be your best one to probably put on him in those man situations, which I'm sure they're going to put a lot on him. We're turning into didn't you get the word, Corey? We've always been a volleyball school. We've always been it, sir. We're in everything school. Bruce told us so. Stripe the stadium. I'm in Navy. I need to ask the person I'm going to the game with which section we're in so I can know. I'll probably just bring one of each just in case, they were wrong or I don't get in touch with them before then. But here's the thing. Auburn traditionally, as you saw with the orange out, it was good, but it's never as good as it could be. I'm not even asking for perfection. I'm asking like 90% people doing it. And it's never for the Navy is probably the one that happens the best out of all of them, but it never happens that well for orange or the stripe the stadium thing. It just never does. So I'm not hopeful for that, but participate if you can. If you think about it, don't stress yourself out. If that's what you're stressed about in this game, then there are other things to be stressed about, whether we're going to be able to put up more than 2 touchdowns. I love the idea of striping the stadium and stuff like that. It just never works out. I think DJ James should start if he's not already. Yeah, it's really easy to get super hyped about these guys when they come in as freshmen and have these really great games, right? I will recall and bring you back to as well, Jalen Simpson, when he was bursting onto the scene and he got caught with the injury bug during a time when he was just kind of showing, hey, he might steal some starting time from some of the good the cornerbacks and such that we have right now. And maybe he would have if he didn't have the injury bug, but it's real easy to go to just because you're seeing a couple of good things, but those veterans are out there for a reason. They've been around. They are providing more consistency, but you sure do like having guys like DJ James. And if they win the starting job, they win the starting job. Point blank and simple. But I don't think we should make a blanket statement that he should start. I think we're heading that direction, but maybe not quite yet. Hope we get to see Dylan Brooks and Craig McDonald. We probably would have seen like Dylan Brooks more if we had been taking care of teams like we should have been. After review, my Jalen Simpson comment was off. What? Oh, okay. I got you. Now I understand. Yeah, I saw that, Dusty. I don't think you're getting hit by anything bad down there in Pensacola, but hope it doesn't get bad for y'all at all. But I saw those videos of the Sharks in Fort Myers. It's bad down there, guys. If you know anybody about down there, throw some prayers up for them. All right, we got our next caller. Let's say hello to him. It's one of our regulars. He takes us to school. Mr. Thomas Manville. What's going on, sir?
War Eagle Kyle, how are you this evening?
Oh, just making it through the days of our lives in Auburn football.
And what days they are. Golly.
They're days, though. And we should be thankful, but there was a time where we didn't think we were going to have those days for a year, and we almost didn't, but it happened. for better or for worse, and this year's happening for better or for worse. Am I a little sad tonight? Am I coming off more pessimistic tonight?
No, you're doing an incredible job of remaining optimistic. I will give you full credit.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I can feel my optimism slipping away, and I'm trying to maintain that because I pride myself on that, but it kind of feels like I'm going that way.
I feel you, buddy. I really do.
What's on your mind tonight?
Man, we have multiple problems on offense, but the largest problem that we have is just staring us right in the face, and it's the O-line still. There's
right.
No improvement at all. So if what you're doing is not working, the logical reason is to change something and to change it drastically. If it's going to change at all, I think it's going to be this week. I think we'll see more outside stretch plays. I think we'll see less tight ends downfield too. We've got to have bodies in there to block.
Which is a shame because, you got guys like Shanker who've shown a propensity to be able to be utilized out there when they're out there to catch passes. But, boy, they gotta get help wherever they can get it. And, it's going to not just be the tight ends. The wide receivers are going to have to show they can block as well if we're going to be doing more outside stuff in the run game. It's, we've been beating this dead horse about the offensive line. So, like, outside of doing what you're saying, changing the scheme up a little bit, what our intentions are doing, another way people go is, well, then start someone else. Well, it's not that simple because there's a reason that they're not starting yet. If they were, they'd already be in. So it's not that fixes it. And so I think the only logical place you can go is change up what you're trying to do in the run game. Yeah. So will we see that this week? That's the big question. Let's say we do that and it still doesn't work. How do we move past? Like, how do we deal with that, Thomas? Like, as fans, particularly, like, are we as a fan base capable of just rationalizing, well, we just need to be thankful for what we get this year with what we're dealing with?
I'm not their coach, but I don't think we've seen the ceiling, but we have definitely seen the floor so far.
Have we?
It cannot get worse than it has been. Now, if they have more sacks in one game, it's still just as bad as it has been. There's no way around that. So if you're going to get any better, things have got to change drastically, and they have to change very soon. And Corey's question, I got to fault both of them. Realistically, if you're supposed to be this good offensive line type guru guy and there's been no improvement, well, that's on you. But at the same time, as a player, if you have not improved yourself with all of the tools at your disposal at a D1 school on scholarship, and you can't improve yourself at all, I got to fault you for that too. And I don't want to be negative to anything Auburn. I dislike doing it, but the reality that's looking at us is the reality that's looking at us. We're in a real bad spot, and the whole game of football starts with the line of scrimmage.
It does. If I'm going to answer the question, I'm actually going to put the blame mainly in, it's pretty even. I'll say 60-40. It's on the players at this point because we're being led by guys that have been here for a long time. And they know it better than I. Like me saying this, that things ain't working is just, me preaching to the choir. They know it better than anybody. They're frustrated by it more than I am. They're, wanting to be successful more than I'm wanting them to be successful. So it's just redundant for me to say that. I acknowledge that, but it just feels like you've been here this long. What's the issue, man? There is a lot of feelings starting to go towards Will Friend, the offensive line coach. And I get that, but I think people are losing the concept of time and the context of what you're walking into and what you're dealing with. Now, if you're a guru, like you said, and which is his reputation, which was Herb Hand's reputation too, you would think we'd see a quicker turnaround. But so one of the two things are happening here. Either the guru-ness was not true, or it was a much worse situation than even Herb Hand could have fixed, than even JB Grimes could have fixed, than even Jeff Grimes, if I'm going to go back to that offensive line. It is what it is, I think, at this point. Because I feel like there's a light bulb that has been unlit for the longest time with these guys, and it's just waiting for someone to reach up and grab it and turn it on. I honestly feel that way. Like, I feel like it's there, and we can't figure out how to get someone to reach up and turn the light bulb on.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to describe the situation. Like Corey just said, the train has not left the station. Like, it's been loaded and ready, but it hasn't gone anywhere. So how do you combat the one thing that you need the most, you're not getting? So how do you combat that? You have no other option but to get away from it, and that's going outside.
Yeah.
That's and goes back to what I said earlier, the tight ends being less receivers and more blockers is if we're going to run a screen pass, we got a 160-pound wide receiver out there. He ain't blocking nobody. We're going to have to get somebody out there. And it may be wishful thinking, but we've seen Schenkel line up in the I formation at fullback. I don't think that's a bad plan at this point. Let's put an extra blocker in the backfield, which is where our running backs get tackled. Let's at least take one guy out of the equation.
They're letting two out. You can at least say, well, Tank can maybe at least beat one, as opposed to the two getting hit from the same side.
Yeah, that and I'm still old school football at heart. I love, let's line up 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I love that kind of football, but man, this offensive line play is absolutely, it kills my soul, man, because I love the O-line. I really do.
Well, because they get so much, they get no recognition in a good year. And when it's not working, it's obvious like this. That's why it pains us to talk about this so much, but it's just the reality of what we're looking at, and you hate it. 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 What are some maybe good things that you expect to see out of LSU, if any, or us against LSU, not necessarily LSU? I hope it's none that you hope to see from LSU.
You're definitely right about that. I mean, after watching 2 LSU games this year, they're a talented team, but they're beatable, especially because they have Brian Kelly. It's not hard to get 10 wins at Notre Dame with that kind of money behind you. It's really not, especially if you don't play in a conference and you don't play anybody else. Anyways, he's a beatable coach. He's proven that every time he's gotten to the playoffs or some pretty big games, and in some games he shouldn't have lost.
Right.
I think Les Miles at LSU. Sometimes they just forget where they are and it doesn't go the right way. They're a beatable team, but for us to win, I think we're going to have at least 230 passing yards. We're going to have 2 passing touchdowns, and probably we got to have a rushing touchdown. We have to. And it's probably, as much as I dislike them, even though they're part of the game, I dislike field goals, but we're probably going to need 2 to beat LSU. And I think that they're going to have to make a special teams mistake, and if we lose the turnover battle, we have no chance.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you about the turnover battle. That's number one. That's step number one, because that means we have to protect the ball, even outside of us taking it away, which is a rarity these days, outside of the Missouri game. But I mean, what do you think about? It was proposed earlier. Maybe I don't know who it was who asked the question or brought up the statement. But I think it was Tyler. If Tank scores 2 touchdowns and 150 yards, is that a win for Auburn? I mean, do you think Auburn wins?
If Tank has 150 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, and we throw for less than 100 yards, we lose.
So I guess that answers the question. That alone does not mean a win for you.
No. If Tank runs for 150 and 2 touchdowns, and Ashford throws for 220 yards and 1 touchdown, then yeah, we can win. Absolutely.
Okay.
But if we got to throw, we're going to have to throw the ball.
I think go ahead.
I don't care how we throw the ball. We're going to have to get passing yards.
Yeah. See, I think when I think about that scenario, does Auburn win if Tank gets 152 yards? I'm also thinking about what's not being said there, because to my mind that says, hey, the run game was working, which means Jarquez was working, which means Robbie was probably working, which means if it was that successful, then we didn't have to do as much passing, but it sure as heck probably opened up the passing a little bit. So I really do think that if Tank has a game like that, that is indicative of what's happening the rest of the game. I mean, look at last week. The man gets 40-something yards on like 18 carries or something like that. And you saw what happened. Like, we shouldn't even probably have won the game at certain points. Or at least if he had done what he, with that amount of carries, could have normally done, we probably would have not been in the situation we found ourselves in, which was quite frustrating in the stadium. I think y'all forget, those of you that were watching on TV, it was frustrating on the TV, but imagine being in the stadium for that.
Yeah. It's, oh God, this is about as bad as being there for the South Florida game.
I was there for that one too.
That was rough.
I was there for that one too. Thanks for bringing that one up. You just hurting me tonight, man. You brought up the 3-2 win. You brought up the South Florida game. Anything you want to hit me while I'm down, Thomas? Come on, hit me while I'm down.
Oh man, it's just a tough night sometimes, I guess.
It is. Let's see. Dusty says that Mizzou stacked the box. 8-9 guys got to hit some big plays. Absolutely. And that's kind of what he was saying earlier, that we've got to open it up a little bit with the pass game. So quick and deep, passes are going to be key for that. And Robbie's got to hit some of them if he's the starter, or TJ, if by some miracle he's out there. Bless Holden's heart. Let's hope he doesn't get thrown into the fire again, because I don't know that he's quite ready, just based off of series he was out there. Guy, you got to feel for him, man. Thrown into the fire in an almost loss of a homecoming game.
Yeah.
Not the situation you want to find yourself in.
No, but the kid handled it well. He really did. I was impressed. I mean, I didn't have any expectations because I've never seen him throw outside the 8A game. But I was impressed with what he did. I'm not going, he's the quarterback of the future right now, because he's still a kid. Like we talked about months ago, he left high school early and got there early to start practice. Like when he was practicing, he shouldn't have even walked across the stage of graduation in high school. But I'm proud of the kid. I think he did really well.
Yeah. I didn't bring this up. Somebody else did, but Tyler. Oh, this is not Tyler. This is Tyrone. I thought it was Tyler. I know Tyler very well, and sometimes he posts stuff just to mess with me. So I thought, no, I actually agree with this. I agree with this 100%. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that.
I had mentioned it earlier, but Dusty was talking about blocking, and I've said zone blocking, Gus style. If these guys were recruited under Gus's system to do that, and it's not working in a pro style offense, it can't hurt to try it at this point, right? So zone block it. Keep the tight ends in there. The whole time Gus was here, people saying we don't use the tight ends. They were blocking. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Brandon Francis is a big dude. Let's make him block. Schenker, there's no reason we can't swing him out. He's got reliable hands, but let's run some 2 tight end stuff. Let's put somebody in at an H-back. And get your receivers spread out. And receivers are not limited to just wide receivers. Tank does a great job when he gets the ball in space. Jarquez does a great job when he gets the ball in space. So whoever it is in the passing game, let's get it to him. I don't want to see a bunch of reverses, but I'm not opposed to a couple of little weird screen passes that get us 8-10 yards of play. We need those. Those are momentum builders to open up the defense where they're not putting 8 or 9 guys in the box like Missouri did, like Dustin said. There's a lot of things we can do, and we just need to do them, I guess.
Did you ever think that you would be missing the bubble screen?
No, I didn't, but I'll still say it. I loved Gus as a coordinator, but not as a head coach.
But it's been funny watching the turn start to happen, and it's like, well, we might have lost games, but boy, we at least we had some offensive, something offensive usually to talk about. And I was like, yeah, I enjoyed having an offensive minded coach. Listen, the conventional wisdom tells you Brian Harson's not going to survive the year, if and when. I hope he does. I hope this ship gets righted this week, and we all who have been entertaining this look like fools. I think the chances of that are pretty low, just based on what we all see, what I'm being told, and stuff like that. But I guess final question for you. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Carson survives the year, since that's kind of the favorite topic right now?
If he beats LSU and only loses to Alabama or Georgia, correct. He has to win out in the SEC schedule and only lose to Alabama or Georgia. And I think he can survive that. Outside of that, I think there's just too much that's already come. There's too many things coming down on him already. Right. It's just hard sell. And I don't like it. I really don't. As soon as he was announced as our new coach, I started researching him, and I went, I like the guy. I'm not going to say I was lied to, but I feel a little let down, and that's the Auburn in me. But I'm trying to be as positive as I can about this. And I don't want this to go poorly so he gets fired. That's the last thing I want, is for things to go badly for Auburn, to get rid of somebody that I don't personally know, that I have no sway in their job, nor do I have their credentials to be a collegiate coach at any level.
Right.
I don't want bad things for anybody, especially if you're at Auburn.
Right.
I just don't.
Well, because that means bad things happen for Auburn if bad things are happening to him. And I think I honestly think a lot of people have lost sight of that on social media. Is like the things that you're wishing on Coach Carson, and you're wishing on Auburn, because he's still part of us. So let's hope that this gets figured out. And yeah, some of us will have to eat crow at the end of the day, but it is what it is. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that's a high likelihood at this point. It is what it is. Thomas, always great to hear you, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely. War Eagle, y'all. Good night.
War Eagle. All right. If you'd like to call in, please do so just like Thomas did. You can click that link up above. If I can get my computer working here. And you can call in. And it doesn't have to be on camera. It can be off camera, but please do so. Love to hear from you. Anything that you want to talk about. Before we get back to comments and questions, I'll remind you of our friends at allthingsauburn.net. Visit them for not just a place to stay when you're on the loveliest village on the plains, but to have a complete and whole Auburn experience, because that is what we're about here. Not just about football, not just about sports, but the whole Auburn experience, because they are close to some of the best places in Auburn to go, whether that be the athletic venues, less than, I think it was like 0.1 mile walk, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how fast you walk, from all of the venues. Neville Arena, Jordan-Hare, Plainsman Park, all of that good stuff. They're also super close to downtown Auburn and all the great places to eat and hang out down there. Sanford Lawn, if you just want to go catch some Z's and take a nap out there on Sanford Lawn on a nice, cool fall afternoon, which I've done before, and it is amazing. You should try it. Our friends at allthingsauburn.net. Hit them up. Talk to them. They will help you have a cool, awesome, complete Auburn experience. As my voice starts to go away. All right, let's get back to it. Those people are always behind an avatar with a fake name. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Rob says that Auburn will have to pass all day. I believe the LSU D line will be too much for our offensive line. Running backs will have to be in the flat receiving passes. Going to be a long day for the offensive line. And that's the way it seems right now. And I would agree with you. That definitely seems that way, but we'll see. We shall see. Gracie, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Corey asked a provocative question. Could some of the players be performing poorly to get rid of Harsin because they don't like him? Just a wandering thought. It's a dangerous thought. Some current events that have been happening would be apparently Arizona State, some assistant coaches feeding the opposing teams plays and such like that. So if that can happen, obviously can happen. For some of these players, there's a lot on the line. It's much harder to coordinate some of that stuff amongst players than it would be a smaller group of coaches. I'd like to believe, and I would subscribe to the theory that is not happening here, but I can't obviously completely rule it out. So I would say your wondering thought should stay a wondering thought, and it's not a reality at this point. Rob, anyone know how many 2023 scholarships left we have in basketball? That will require figuring out the roster right now, who's potential to leave, and then some. So if anybody else has that math in their heads right now, my guess you're probably good for about 3 spots each year, depending on leaves and stuff like that. So I don't know, Rob. That's a great question, though. All right, we got our next caller in. Let's talk to her. She just had her first Auburn experience, and she's out of the kitchen. Jen, what's up?
Hey, Kyle. How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you again for letting me share that Auburn experience with you.
Yes, it was awesome.
Was it
Had a great time.
Did you enjoy that shout out you got in the Auburn Experience podcast this week?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Got me a little emotional, not gonna lie.
Well, that's the whole thing here, like we talked about in that other segment, Auburn just makes you emotional sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
War Eagle Productions, I tagged them in a tweet about that this week, and they responded to it. So I was like, yeah, y'all know what y'all did. Don't act like y'all know what y'all weren't doing over there making
I showed my dad that video. And he thought it was pretty cool.
Got a little misty eyed, pull the glasses down like I did. Yeah, all those times I was wearing my glasses, that was just me thinking about that video when we were together. What's on your mind tonight?
I kind of just want to talk about my experience, my favorite parts of the weekend, and then talk about the LSU game. But I was going through trying to think about my favorite so I broke it down. So my favorite homecoming and then game day, because there were just too many to just have one favorite experience. So my favorite homecoming festivity was the parade. I love seeing all the floats.
Yep, that was fun.
That was pretty cool. The model of Stanford Hall, I think that was my favorite one.
Oh, it's a good one. That
was pretty incredible.
I go back and forth on that one, and then I don't know what you would call the theme of the other one, but it was by Fiji House, that fraternity and sorority that teamed up together. That was just because the level of effort they put into theirs was very good. So if you guys want to check it out, we've got a whole video of all of them up there if you want to check them out. But I agree that Stanford Hall, that was really nice.
That was pretty great. My favorite game day was probably Tiger Walk and the Four Corners Pep Rally. I mean, that was pretty cool.
You gotta, but you may be about to talk about this, but before, I just don't want us to escape it. Toomer's Corner or Toomer's Drugs Lemonade. How was it?
Oh, yes. Oh, it was delicious. Amazing.
Was it overhyped? Be honest.
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
For me, it was not. My husband's a little more skeptical, but he gave it an 8 out of 10. So
yeah, I'll take an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So,
and he also said he really liked Mama Goldberg's too. So
I love Mama Goldberg.
Overall, I think my favorite experience, and you talked about it on the podcast, was just hanging out at Mama Goldberg's and chatting. That was fun.
Well, and because there's so much that's happened in that little shack of a building that still stands to this day. You can just smell the history.
I mean, my dad used to eat there, so that's
right.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's just one of those. I think every college town's got one of those places that everybody just it's not even the sports really. You just remember going there, spending money there, hanging out, talking, being with people. So it's a great place.
Yeah. And so I think my favorite part of the game actually was when me and the lady next to me, we hugged. It was after, I can't remember if it was after they missed the field goal or we made ours, but we were hugging. And then after we won, we hugged. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, I'm pretty sure if I was at a UW game, I wouldn't be doing that with the person next to me. Auburn is just different.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, but it was a frustrating game for sure.
Well, I remember just off of that, after the kick six, because I was there and rushed the field. We're, you get over the initial just high of running on the field and stuff like that. And then me and this dude, we weren't sitting near each other, no telling where he came from. We lock eyes from 50 yards off and just pointing and said, "You get over here right now." And we ran each other, jumped in each other's arms and started hugging for no reason. It was the weirdest thing.
Funny.
It was just kind of locked in on each other. Get over here, man, and bring it in for the real thing. So I get that.
That's funny. But yeah, it was a great time. We went to eat at Moe's again before we went home.
Good.
Tried the smoked wings. They were pretty good.
Moe's is a popular place these days.
Yeah, it was very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of drinking going on.
Oh yeah. Well,
from both sides.
Well, yeah. It's the case around that part of town. I mean, that's what it's known for. It's the bar crawl, so to speak. So there you go. What else?
We did a lot of walking. I gotta say.
I warned you.
I think if we do it next time, I told my husband, I was like, next time we should just get an Uber to just drop us off at the stadium instead of having to park. But I'm excited to come back for the Iron Bowl next year when it'll be sold out crazy, because I have never been before, so I can't say what a crowd is usually like at 11 a.m. game. But I thought, compared to the games that I went to at UW, I thought it was a good crowd.
Oh, it was a good crowd.
So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. The crowd was very energetic, given it was a 7:00 game. The temperature of the climate of the of the program right now.
Yep.
But it was still about what I expected in terms of people not being there. I think officially the attendance was 83,000 and we're at 87. I'm like, it was not 80. There may have been 83,000 sold, but there was not 87 or 83,000 there.
Well, I think there were some people that left at halftime. Some people I heard like going by, they're just like, it's way too hot.
Yeah.
I'm just like, don't you live here?
I will say it has been a very mild summer or beginning of the season because of the weather that we've had. Like the Penn State game was pretty great leading up to it. The game time, it was pretty hot. That was the hottest game so far. But even this one, it was pretty.
I mean, it wasn't that hot. It just the sun was just brutal.
And you were sitting on the sideline where it was pointed directly at you too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got burned. We got burned for sure.
I could see a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a good, and I tried to like listen in on the like conversations around me and stuff. The only thing I heard was what we've been hearing. Oh, that O-line, they don't have an O-line. Got to fix that O-line. But like, you would think, and I know that social media is not an accurate representation of Auburn fan base, and thank goodness. But you would think that the way people are talking on Twitter, like they'd be booing the coaches and stuff. I didn't hear any of that.
It came close. I had to yell at somebody. There's this one gentleman behind me that he was getting ready to, and I just, I didn't look at him. I just made a blanket statement. I said, well, it looks like the Boo Birds are going to have to keep silent for a little bit. And he just kind of wandered off because he knew I wasn't going to put up with that. Yeah.
I mean, from where we were sitting, I know it wasn't around the whole stadium, but from where we were sitting, I mean, we were all standing up and cheering for third downs. And I mean, we were getting into it. So.
Yeah, well, and I said this on the Auburn Experience podcast that, and I know this sounds mean, and I kind of do mean it mean, but it's not in a mean-spirited way. But homecoming's almost kind of like a purging of the fan base in the sense that you're there because normally it's a rinky-dink game.
Yeah.
Please don't ever schedule Missouri again for homecoming. The people that are there for things other than just because they want to be there on a football Saturday, because they want to go see their old buildings. They want to go have their old food. They're whatever your nostalgia is for Auburn. That's why you're back. They're the majority. So there is kind of like this, the people that are there. It's not that there's a higher quality. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, there's people that have learned to value the whole of the Auburn experience, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I've really had to learn to just scroll on Twitter because
scroll and mute.
Yes, because it's been. I have actually met some really cool people though.
Oh yeah,
like
a lot of them.
We've had some good conversations, some fair conversation. I mean, let's be fair. It's bad. I mean, like let's be fair. But when you start saying, like Thomas was saying, I'll never get to the point where I hope Auburn loses or I want them to do bad so that they'll fire Carson. You get to that point, like,
why are you here?
I've lost all respect. I've lost all respect for you. Like, right. Why are you even? Then turn it off.
Right. Just don't be.
But they're like, oh well, I'm still gonna watch. Why?
Right. If it makes you that miserable, why are you participating in this?
Exactly.
Like, to me, exactly. Yes. Was it misery to watch us do that against Missouri? But at the end of the day, I'm sitting there with everybody else singing the alma mater at the end.
Yep.
And just happy we got a win. Wish it was a prettier win. Whew. But a win is a win is a win.
Yep. That's true.
Let's round out our discussion with just your quick thoughts about tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow we'll be talking about the LSU preview.
Yeah.
But just what you think about LSU game.
I mean, I haven't really watched LSU play, so I can't really say.
You won't get much from that because it's
I feel. I mean, it's at Jordan-Hare, so I saw someone on Twitter say, oh, this is the hurricane game added to all the other crazy games we had versus LSU, like the earthquake game or something talking about. I don't know what that was about, but so it seems like there's always something surrounding the LSU games. So.
It's weird, man. It's there's some they bring their voodoo up from Nolans, and
Yep.
it just gets weird, man. Like that's all
Yeah.
I can say. It's that whole thing of I don't know, man. They show up, we show up, things happen.
Yeah,
You know,
I am excited that it's a night game, though.
Oh yes, yes.
I think that'll help the atmosphere, and I mean, like we've been talking about, if our O-line, I mean, well, I don't know anything really about football as much as y'all, as much as I hear everyone talking about on here, but it just seems like we got to do something different because what we're doing isn't working. And I gotta believe that the coaches understand that. I just have a hard time believing that they're that dumb.
Well, they're not, and that's
Like-
the thing is, I think people are not willing to go to the next level of that statement. If you think that these guys are dumb enough not to do something different and they're not doing it, what does that tell you about what the different is? That works even less. And, you know, there is something, well, we haven't seen it out in the field, sure, but they're paid higher. They know what is and isn't going to work. And even if what they thought was going to work isn't working, there's a reason they're not doing it. And so it just may be that bad. You know, I don't know. Trying to make sense of it myself.
Yeah, and I get what people are saying. They're like, oh, I you know, I have eyes. I can see what's going on the field, but okay, there's also a lot that you don't see going on off the field.
Right.
You don't know what they're talking about on the sidelines. You don't know, you know, maybe they're trying to make adjustments, but it's not working. I mean, there's just so many things that we don't know. Yes, I get that it looks bad to the fans, but there's a reason we're the fans.
Right. Well, it's much easier to be, you know, Monday morning quarterback when there's no money on the line, there's no jobs on the line, there's no, you know, season on the line for us in particular, other than just the fact that we love this team.
Yeah.
So we can say all we want, have all the answers. Media can too.
Look, I am getting real annoyed.
I knew I was going to stir her up.
I'm getting.
Be nice.
I just saw a quote today. I'm just gonna speak truth. I saw a quote today. Someone was like, Carson said, "Everybody's day to day." Yeah, finish that sentence, sir. He said, "Everybody's day to day when they miss a game." I'm just like, really? Okay, whatever. I'm just moving. That's the scroll and mute. Just moving. I can't.
Well,
and I'm gonna have such a hard time. People, you know, trusting the media and running with it. I'm sorry, I don't. I listened to that teleconference 3 times to try and find where he said that.
Commitment. Yeah.
Because I am all about do your own research, you know, find out for yourself. And he didn't say that. It was in reference to people who are injured after missing a game, and he was talking about Devon Kaufman and TJ Finley. So, you know, and I know, and I've listened to Carson. I listened to all the press conferences. So I know that he wouldn't just say stupid stuff like that. So
I will admit he's getting a little salty, rightfully so, in the press conferences.
Yeah.
Now this week,
I think it was a lot better this week.
Yeah. But you can, I think any reasonable person can understand a little bit of saltiness coming from him, and it's kind of refreshing in a sense to see somebody.
I think so too. I think it's hilarious. People were offended by his press conference after Penn State. I was laughing. I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the things, and you know me as a Gus Malzahn apologist, like I'll defend that man to my core, but I did not like how much it was the same repeated stuff from him. No, there was like he wouldn't stand up for himself, all that kind of stuff, and you know, just came off very not weak, but could have been more bold in the way he carried himself around. So I do value about that, Carson. If he does leave, that'll be one of the things that I miss of how he gives it right back.
Oh, I know.
Trying to
like when they asked, you know, when they asked, "Is Missouri a must-win?" He said, right out, he said, "I know what you're asking, but you know, of course, every game's a must-win. I'm not going to play to that though." So I like that. But
final statements, because we do got someone else on the line.
I love Auburn, and I can't wait to get back to another game. And I really hope this week we see it turned around like everybody does. I hope we get it. I hope we get it right.
We hope so. We hope so much, Devin. Thanks for calling in.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye. All right. Always great to hear from Devin. We got somebody else on the line, so we'll hop them right in here. Mr. Roderick, how are you doing, sir? Great to hear from you.
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
How have you been since I feel like it's been about a month or so since we've heard from you here calling.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but Hey, I'm just happy we got a win.
Man, you and me both, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been that relieved to miraculously, in some sense, have a win in quite some time.
Yeah, I think what Coach Carson should really do is he needs to settle on an identity for this offense.
Yeah.
And I think Robbie's my guy. I mean, the offense looks a little more explosive when he's in.
Yep.
This two quarterback system thing is done. I think that TJ had an opportunity to really just snatch it and run with it, but he didn't. He never did. He never did separate himself to me. And so I think in order to, with this offensive line situation, I think we have to pretty much go spread. We don't really have a choice in this.
Right.
The two tight end system, trying to run pro style stuff, it's not working. We need to get people out of the box and get our backs a chance to get out in open field and run. And to me, that'll be it. You know.
No, I agree with you.
I know it sounds very simple, but that's what I do. I spread people out. I would not let people load the box 9-10 men and have Tank run. Tank is not Bo Jackson. He's not going. He can't do that. That's not what he does. He's more of a slasher.
Yeah.
More than anything, he's a slasher type runner. He's not some of the great backs that we've had like that. He's a great back, but he's not. He's not. He don't have that weight that he can lean on a defense like that.
Yeah.
He's an explosive runner, very talented guy. But in today's football, you need to spread guys out and give him an opportunity to run. To get out in the open field. Plus, we got three backs, man. Come on. I mean, we not to mention Jack West. I mean, we got, and then the youngster in the back of him.
Yep, Damari.
So, yeah. So we have an opportunity, and we have an opportunity to really show that we're a better team.
Right. I too have settled on Robbie being the best answer for our offense right now. And I was a big TJ guy. Just from that decision, and I've said this several times, so I don't know if you've heard this yet, but the decision that I've come, in my opinion, to settle on Robbie comes not necessarily from what TJ has or hasn't done, just what's going on with the offensive line. He is not he doesn't have a lot of escapability. Robbie does. And so that presents more explosiveness, as you said, to make a bad situation better, similar to Bo. Bo would sometimes, to our frustration, make some poor decisions in it, but he also made some magic sometimes. So you got to have a guy that out there, while your offensive line has not had the stability you would hope it would have at this point, create opportunities by himself or give other guys more chance to get open and do some things, especially in the pass game, and create a threat when he's in there to run as well, because you got to imagine that's another person to account for it, even when Tank's in there. TJ and Tank are in there together, and you think it's going to be a run play. Do you think TJ is going to be doing a sneak or doing a RPO, is going to be doing a read option? Probably not. But if Robbie Ashford's in there, they got to account for the quarterback. And so I agree with you.
And I look at what's going on in the pro game too, with Lamar Jackson and how they have built an offense around Lamar and his strengths, and how explosive that offense is. And all I ask for Robbie, I hope he's watching this, is to keep your eyes up when you're scrambling. Don't always scramble to run. Scramble sometime to pass. Right. And that will, because some guys are running wide open on the side. I looked at the game on replay a little bit. I seen a couple of plays that, had he just looked up just a little bit, he would have seen a guy down the sideline wide open.
Right. And
So,
that's a young player mistake, right?
I know the game is moving super fast for him right now, but
I would agree with you.
Keep his eyes up. I'll live with the. I've always said this, and me and my brother talk football all the time, so I've always said this, that I can live with a freshman making freshman mistakes. What I can't live with is a upperclassman making freshman mistakes.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's why this offensive line situation is so frustrating, because these majority of these guys have been here a long enough time to not be making some of these mistakes individually, but as a unit as well. And it's not been the same. You know, they've been mixing and matching a little bit, but as a whole, the majority of them have been here quite some time. So you think you'd figure it out at this point, at least to some sense. I think
Brahms getting hurt really did something to our offensive line, because I felt like he was going to be our leader on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And we need that, man. We're missing him big time. We're missing him big time.
I would agree with that. I think that was kind of the first bad sign. It kind of sent this into a little bit more of a tumble than it probably could have had at the start of the year.
Right.
I don't think, just from the outstart, watching Nick over the last, I don't know that he would have made the world of difference, but it sure would have provided more stability for the offensive line to start from, because now you've got Tate hurt. And so now you're into your third string center. It's kind of like can't catch their feet, even if there was a foundation to catch right now. So
absolutely. But I think with all that's going on, we're still 3-1. It's
people have lost sight of that.
It's incredible. All that's going on, all the close calls, we're still sitting here 3-1, and people are in our own community are wishing that he would have lost that game.
It's a sad state of affairs.
It's a sad state of affairs right now.
It is.
But people are saying, "Oh, it's prime time," and all that. Listen, man. In my opinion, to crush that thing, I think prime time has a lot of work to do where he is at the HBCU.
I agree.
Now, I would love, if he decided to come to Auburn, I would love that. But at the same time, I think that he has
a greater calling.
I don't know if it's just about money with him.
I don't
it's
think
not
it
about
is.
money.
Yeah.
It's not about money with Coach Sanders. I think he's trying to build something, and if he does come to Auburn, whoa, what a game changer. But if you don't, hey, we need to find our own footing anyway, instead of putting all our eggs in this basket and saying, hey, we got to get this guy. We got to find a way to beat Georgia. We got to find a way to beat Bama. We got to find a way to win the SEC and get to the playoffs. That's the key, and that's the mission. That's what it is.
To kind of play off what you said there about Deion Sanders and what he's doing over there, to me, kind of relate it back to Auburn a little bit. I've seen in Deion, because we all know Deion as the flashy, showboating, prime time, every bit, dual sport athlete, all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you watch some of the things he said. He's still there. He's got that, that confidence about him still. But you've watched the maturation.
Got a magnetic personality.
He does. But you've watched, at least on the surface, what we see, some maturation, some understanding of some deeper things going on. And I see a lot of that in Charles Barkley too. Charles has his moments still where he says some things that probably ain't right. But, you can see the understanding of the greater purpose. And not that I don't think that Deion wouldn't work here and wouldn't want him if that happens. I agree with you. I think what he's doing over there is got some good things going on too. And I'd hate to see that end so quickly after that fact. So regardless, whether he comes here, somebody else comes here, I hope that we make the decision that's best for Auburn.
I just want to make it clear that I'm still behind this coach.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm pulling for him.
Yeah,
I want him to do well, not just because of he's an Auburn coach, but the guy he's a fighter, and a lot of people are already counting him out. Mm-hmm. I've always been partial for the underdog.
Oh yeah,
and everybody's counting him out. Everybody's saying, oh, he's not going to make it another year. But then what happens if we beat LSU? You think about that?
Yeah.
What happens if we beat LSU, Arkansas? What happens if we become 7-1?
Right. Maybe so.
What happened? People get caught up in this because it's such a surefire thing that he's not going to be here next year. That's what people are saying.
Right.
I hope he wins every ball game. I hope he shuts
agree.
all their mouths. I hope he wins all the way out.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, because I mean, to understand the story of the underdog is also very much in tune with what being an Auburn fan is, and that's not to
Sure.
say that we're always down and out, but it's kind of our story. We're
It's our story. Let's just embrace that.
we
That
are,
is
and
that's our story. Yeah.
there's some pride in that. You know, we've had this, whether it's big brother, if they want to call that little brother, we've always been white collar. Or excuse me, be the other way, blue collar, they're white collar, you know, that kind of thing. And the way it's always come, things have come easier to them. And there's some pride in that. And frankly, this is going to sound kind of off the beaten path a little bit. I almost wonder if we would have lost a little bit of that if we had been winning to the level that Alabama had won. And now, and I know, you know, I'm just saying this for everybody listening. I would love a national championship every year.
Yeah.
But there's something about getting to that mountaintop just for those right moments that makes that a little bit sweeter. And when you see over in Tuscaloosa town, they can't even fill their stadium for the smallest games. And even as bad as our team's playing right now on our homecoming, it's apparently 83,000 was the attendance today.
Yeah.
That should tell you something about how much people love, not just Auburn. As Pat Dye said, Alabama people love Alabama football.
Right.
Auburn people love Auburn. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Or any final thoughts or questions or comments you got, Roderick?
No, I was just about to say that's the biggest thing. No matter where you go, especially here in the state of Alabama, if you're an Auburn fan, because I have an Auburn tag on my car, and no matter where you go, if somebody's going to say something. I was going to work this morning, and this guy was like, "Oh, you're not having a good day. I see you got that Auburn thing on it." No, I feel pretty good.
Right.
You know, we're 3-1.
Yeah.
And I like to let everybody know that the mighty Alabama Crimson Tide looks a little bit suspect right now.
They won't say it, but it's a little
I'll
scary
say
for
it.
them.
I'll say it. 0 rushing game. They cannot run the ball. So
right now,
I would not be shocked if Arkansas, I'm just saying, if Arkansas can pull the upset.
Yeah.
I'll be paying special attention to that game. I don't think Alabama is as good as people think, and I don't think that we're as bad as what people think.
I think our potential, our ceiling's a lot higher. We just haven't gotten anywhere near it yet, and I do believe that. The potential, the opportunity is there. We just got to seize it, and that's kind of been the story for the last couple of seasons, hasn't it been?
For us, we just need to focus on execution and being the best Auburn, football team that we can be, and let the chips fall where they may. You know what I mean?
Well said, Roderick. Thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
All right, War Eagle, man.
War Eagle. Always great to hear from Roger when we get the opportunity to. A lot of familiar faces, somewhat, regular faces. But I always enjoy hearing from all of y'all's perspectives, whether it's just in the comments, in the chat. I really do. I know we don't always see things the same way. Doesn't make it necessarily right or wrong. But we all believe one thing, is that we believe in Auburn and love it. And yeah, we say it a lot, and it's cliche, but it's the truth, man. This place is different, even though I'm not in Auburn right now, but this place, this family, this entity is different. And I think you understand what I mean by that. If you understand, if you're part of that, even if we can't articulate it that well. All right. I will take a last few minute comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals. I will close down the phone lines at this point, though. Go ahead and get those last minute comments and questions in. A couple things for you to keep in mind. First off, don't miss tomorrow night, because we're going to have a that was LSU's little fight song, or whatever, LSU fan tomorrow on the preview. Excited for you to meet the individual. I will again ask that you be on your best behavior tomorrow. You'll understand why tomorrow. But please join us if you can. Invite a friend. That's the biggest thing. Like, before I get into the other things that I always share, honestly, folks, that is the biggest thing that you can do for us. If you will invite a friend, share with them to like us on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Tell them we do this. Have them come in, be a part of our family. That's what we're all about here. That's what we'd really like for you to do. Other things, the Booster Club, check it out. over at patreon.com/E2C network. There you can sign up, get some perks. Or if you just want to stay here on YouTube and support financially, $1 a month's all it takes. Join be a channel member, and you'll get little icons next to your name, all that kind of stuff. Always appreciated. There's TeePublic, PayPal. That's it. Or not, there's plenty of opportunities there. But if you just want to be here, make sure you like the videos, leave a comment, question, all that kind of stuff. It is always much appreciated because you guys are the best little family within the Auburn family. And I do mean that. Dusty's getting us ended on the night right with a whoa. Hey. 61 home runs for Aaron Judge. Not Auburn related, but I'll bring it up because it is one of those significant milestones, in sports history. Let's see here. Trying to see if we've got any other last minute things. I want Dusty. I was just about to message you, and I ran out of time this afternoon that I was getting ready to order that for you. So yes, I've got your things that I needed from you, the information that's coming to you very, very soon. Kyle thinking we'll be on our best behavior. Yes, I am a clown for thinking that y'all will be on your best behavior, but I really, you'll understand why tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me. Again, you're always the best little family of the Auburn family. Until we talk to you tomorrow night, hope to see you here. War Eagle, my friends.